Hey, Carmine, good to see you. Yeah, it is a special moment, right? I got a chance to actually be in your studio doing this live right by your side. And today's guest is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. We got a lot of good things going on. Made in America is hot as ever now, with all the issues and abroad with shipping, and so Made in America has a whole new meaning now. It truly does, about having your products in the U.S. and having everyone who sees it now working in the U.S. It's got a whole new meaning, especially after last year with the pandemic.
Yeah.
It really does have a new twist to it. Yeah, my Shark Tank show, and our guest that we have on today was actually played at our Shark Tank airing. I'll bring him on in about 30 seconds, but yeah. So we closed the show the first time around in the grand finale. Only 12 entrepreneurs have ever done that in the 12-year history. We were handpicked. So pretty cool. And we're going to get it aired again tonight. So if anybody hadn't seen it, I can't tell you how it ended. They have to watch the show to see how it ended.
I can tell you it ended good. Right?
You're going to have to watch the show tonight, Friday the 13th at 8 p.m. Shark Tank. Tune it in.
Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Well, let's bring him on. It's going to be awesome, dude.
So we got a special guest on today, really, with a great name, Chris Trapper. Music.
Chris has a ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, Chris has a ring to it. An amazing musical guest. Yeah, he's from the same area I'm from, the Boston area, right? Everyone knows that I moved to Carolina now, but my heart is still up in Boston. And ironically enough, the first time I met Chris was on a Rob Thomas tour in Atlanta, Georgia. Can you believe that? Of all places, Atlanta. It was so hot that night. It was so humid. I remember drinking a beer and I think I sweated it out before I was done drinking it. I can't imagine what it was like for you guys playing.
I can remember the first, like maybe 3 weeks of that tour, because it circled through Florida into Georgia. I just remember every night felt hotter than the rest. And I don't wear I don't wear short pants on stage. So I generally wear jackets on stage too. So as a sacrifice for fashion, my clothes would literally be sticking to me as if I'd super glued them that night, because the salt, like a marathon runner, had connected my jacket to my body. So it was never pleasant, but it was a great tour though.
Yeah, that was a great night. It was ironic, like you said, it was down. It's kind of down below the ground, the way the arena was set up. And I'm telling you, I can't believe how humid it was. And I'm from that area, right? So I'm used to it now. But even that night, I'm saying these guys must be dying playing. Brandy we had a front row seat, so she got all the action. Matter of fact, she's on the Rob's video release, the CD, when you guys are all playing, he releases it afterwards. Brandy's on it, screaming, yelling, piercing people's ears.
Nice.
I'm like, what are you doing? You made the CD track.
Hey, that's cool. You got to be heard in this world, right?
Absolutely. So Chris, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. How did you get started? I know you're the youngest, so we have that in common. I'm the youngest in my family of 3. You're the youngest of 6, I believe. How did all this get started?
So I grew up in a real working class neighborhood. So my family had 6 kids in a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom.
That's my house. I was saying same setup with 3.
Which my father occupied that bathroom, I think about 90% of the time, because you think it's the only place where he could find peace.
Yeah.
6 kids, full-time job, wife with demands. So, but my family really valued music. My parents loved songwriters and songwriting. They loved old country music like Willie Nelson, Roger Miller, Waylon Jennings. So I grew up around music all the time. My dad played keyboards. My brother played guitar. So another brother of mine loved to sing. So when I turned 13, my sister gave me her old guitar that had been kind of collecting dust in her bedroom. And she said, "Chris, you want to play this thing or try it or use it?" Because I was bored, because back then we didn't have cell phones to entertain us constantly. We didn't have, 900 cable shows. You would actually get bored. And so out of boredom, you'd try new things and you could experiment with maybe I'd be good at, like, maybe I'll be good if I pick up this guitar. And so I picked up my sister's guitar, and my brother taught me one chord. And so I just took it to the races because I loved it. And it kind of filled that void for me. And so I think I started writing songs because I just needed a voice, because I was a bad stutterer when I was in age 13, junior high, grade school. Just I could barely talk to people. So for me, the songwriting process became just a way to express myself, a way to, reach women for dating purposes, which didn't work out well until later on in my life. But it just became a way for me to have something, some identity, just to fill that kind of empty donut inside where the jelly became music.
Well, I'll tell you one of my secrets. One of my secrets is I always wanted to be a songwriter. I always wanted to be a singer, right? And I guess I really got a true test. I ran into Steve Tyler of Aerosmith, and Brandy had been telling me how awful I am at singing. So I said, let me sing a song for him. Let me sing one of his songs.
You didn't do that.
I did.
Oh.
Living on the Edge. I had the camera out. I was singing. I just told him, I said, get ready. Like, I've been told I'm a horrible singer. So I figured, who better to judge me than you?
Right.
I started to sing, and he said, hey,
You're a horrible singer.
sing. He said, no, I didn't say that. Just snap the picture. Like, so, I mean, I think he wanted to get out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's okay though.
yeah, it is. I mean, it was a wonderful experience. But honestly, like, when I watch you guys sing, and I mean, you're a hell of a songwriter. I mean, I love your songs.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I watch you guys perform. It's just a special talent. You said age 13. I think about me at age 13. I was then deciding, which I stayed in my whole career, I wanted to be an engineer. But again, my secret in life would have been a songwriter and a rock and roll star. But you need some talent to do that. I have no talent, no musical talent whatsoever. So I can.
Well, I have a secret. I have a secret for you, in that when I was 13, I wanted to design the super potty trainer, and so you see how the tables turn. It's your life. Life throws you curveballs.
It's crazy.
Well, I can remember a teacher in junior high school told me one time, she pulled me out of chorus class, and she kind of sidelined me. You said, Chris, I can hear your voice sticking out through the choir. You're actually really good. It's the first time anybody had told me, I was good at anything, aside from maybe my mother saying I'm great at everything. So it had a real impact on me. So that became something I always felt good about myself. Like I may suck at this and that. Maybe I'm not great in school. Maybe I'm mediocre in sports. Like, I don't get picked last, but I get picked in the last 40%.
That's okay. Carmine's always last.
Yeah, right. So it's like that almost felt worse, you're being picked not last, but near last, but at least last. It's like, like you suck and you embrace it. You embrace it. But I was like, yeah, I guess I kind of suck. But with singing, that's where I first found confidence. That's where I first found my voice. So getting on stage became a very natural process for me, where I could do it. I could do it for 2 people. I could do it for 2,000 people. In fact, in some cases, the bigger the crowd, the more comfortable I actually feel. Like, I've been doing a lot of private shows since the pandemic happened. And so I've done shows for as little as 2 people where they pay my rate and I show up, and I actually sweat more for those gigs than if I'm playing for 8,000 people with Rob Thomas, because it's more awkward. It's almost like the bigger you get, the less personal it feels, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing I noticed, like seeing you in big arena, like, pretty cool, right? It's a pretty cool setting.
Mm.
When you came to our Shark Tank party, being in that intimate setting, I was in the back room, answering some tweets and on Twitter and Instagram. And then you started playing. It was like, wow. Like, it just had a different feel. Like, it sounded so incredibly good. I was blown away. I mean, you absolutely have an incredible voice. You definitely are a musician. There's no question. And to listen to you that night in that intimate setting was like, damn, this guy is really, really good. I just noticed a big difference.
Well, thank you very much. You basically, I have no other skills. So if I'm not good at that, I'm in big trouble. I'm working for you somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you always have a job with me, you know.
Okay, all right, well, good.
All right, so let's go now. So you started playing, you start getting good, you start realizing now I've got some talent. What's the next step? You started a band?
So I started writing songs, and that became kind of just a thing for me where I'd go to school, I'd get picked on, go home from school, grab my guitar, write a song really quickly. So I realized whatever that weight was on my shoulders that kind of made me feel bummed out or sad, it went away each time I wrote a song. It'd go away. So suddenly that process became cathartic, and I just started doing it again and again and again and again. So then I went off to college and met a band in college. I became the lead singer for that band. So that was the first time I ever kind of went from zero to hero, was having a band. And our band was pretty good. We were one of the top 3 bands on my college campus, which only had 3 bands, but being the top 3 was really good.
But you found a way to find some chicks now, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Well,
So-
what was the name of the band? I always love the name of people's first bands.
That band is called Awake and Dreaming. We were going to use the name Super Potty Trainer, but that was taken.
Shark Tank, Super Potty Trainer, tonight, 8 p.m.
I'm plugging you left and right.
You are doing good.
So that college was outside of Buffalo, New York. And so we were very ambitious. And so we said, why don't we relocate to Boston? So all of us dropped out of college, moved to Boston, because at that time it was the early 90s. And at that time, lots of bands were getting record deals from Boston. So we moved to Boston, and we were all eager-eyed college guys. And we rented one apartment in Chelsea, Massachusetts. You know that, Chris. And
Yes.
And so I just remember a point where we picked up the Boston Phoenix. Used to be the arts page here in Boston, and it had the local Boston band guide, and it said over 2,000 bands. And so I just remember my heart sank at that time, because at college, like, I joked about being one of the best 3 bands, but it was semi-true. We're in this big city with so many bands, so much competition, so few clubs to play at. And so we broke up maybe after about a couple years, and I quit music completely. And I started working a job at a hotel as a purchaser, where I had to wear a hairnet and an apron and a name tag. There's guys like to call it the triple threat with the ladies. And so
And that's when you were awake and dreaming.
that was post Awake and Dreaming, but so my father called me one day at the job, like in mid-afternoon at the hotel. And he said, Christopher, are you still writing songs? And I said, yeah, I write songs almost every week. He said, why don't you quit your job and try and do something with your songwriting? And I just said, Dad, you been drinking by any chance, or what's going on with you? And so he basically said he just wanted me to work a job that I loved, because I think he realized he could never do that, because he had 6 kids and he could never do something for himself. He had to always sacrifice. So he said, you have a talent. Why don't you try and make something out of it? So I quit my job maybe about a week later and started playing open mic nights in Boston. Basically, my philosophy was to take any gig that I could possibly get anywhere, no matter what. So if it was a puppet show, a pancake breakfast, any gathering, I would play it. And so there was a poetry reading right across the street from my hotel that had been working out for the previous 5 years. And so the host walked up to me and she said, do do you write poetry? And I said, no, I write songs. And she said, why don't you show up next week and play a couple songs for us? Wow. So I did. So that was my first actual gig, kind of coming out of the band breakup and that kind of stuff. And so when she heard me play, everyone was like, you're really good. You're really good. And so she said, why don't you come back and feature next week? So the feature meant you play last and you play for tips. So I just remember when I featured, I got about $50 worth of tips, which was just cold, hard cash for singing. And for me, that was the lightning bolt moment that said, wait a minute, I can sing and I can get paid for it. And at that point, that had seemed light years away from me because I didn't really take control of the old band's business. I was just like a passenger. So this was the first time where I said, like, wow, I can actually make money from singing. And so that moment, it became addictive, and I've tried to replicate it, monetizing songwriting since then. And so now it's been 22 years, my full-time job. And the cool thing was that I got to buy my parents a house about 6 years after my dad encouraged me to quit my job.
Wow.
Because I had signed a publishing deal and had a song in a film. And so I got to repay him for his belief in me. Because for a parent to kind of tell their child to, go to the diving board and jump into the deep end, that takes some balls. So I'm forever grateful to my folks for.
That is, I didn't know that at all. What an absolute awesome story there. Yeah, I mean, I think about like my kids, the encouragement and to keep pushing them. But there's that line of pushing someone, right, versus letting them do something that they love to do, right? So you have to know what that boundary is. So hearing that is what unbelievable. So what timeline is that roughly? What time in your life? How old are you and what year?
So that would have been about 1995. I probably started music later than most people. I think I signed my first record deal when I was 28 or 29. So I was playing with a lot of much younger bands back then. But I just recognized that I had so many friends who were super talented, like they're way better than me at songwriting, singing, playing, whose parents did not support them, who they were like, the music thing, that's cute, but you should do something for real because you're not going to do anything with it. So I had the opposite experience because most of those friends quit because you have to either defy your parents or the people around you, so I never had that. I had the opposite.
When did you feel you started getting noticed? Right, I know I would get into you had a big song and a big movie, and you've been on a lot of movies and sitcoms. We'll get into that a little bit, but when did you really get noticed? When someone starts saying, "Hey, can Chris Rapper write a song for our movie or our sitcom?"
Well, I can remember the first time I formed a band in Boston called the Push Stars. Right when I was gigging all the time, and I was like, it'd be nice to have a vehicle for my songwriting that could work in rock clubs, because I've been playing mostly acoustic stuff. So we signed our record deal, but the funniest thing was one of our first shows. So we started to build a following in Boston, but that was mostly people that friends from your old job, or your next door neighbor, or your ex-girlfriend and her friends, and you would know the whole crowd. And so the first time we had a show outside of Boston, we went to a club called the Beach Tree, which was in, I believe, New Paltz, New York. And so we had never really traveled from Boston. We got to the club and it was packed. And I just, it was a small club, but it was just packed to the point that you couldn't even walk into the club. So we were kind of like, how did this happen? And somebody said, oh, a radio station in town has been playing your song like for the past 6 weeks. And we had no idea because we didn't even know how to track the business at that time. So So I think it's when people started showing up that I didn't know personally. That's when you feel like you kind of made it on some level. But then you'll go back to not feeling you did to feeling you did. I mean, like the funny thing is, you said, I still feel like I'm trying to make it. And, I've always had that feeling or that fear that at some point I'll have to go back to the real world, because this has felt like a fantasy for a long time. And so I've been really, that fear has motivated me to always work. And then when I look back, I'm like, you've had songs in like 10 movies. You're playing constantly, like you're opening in arenas. You kind of made it. Like just sometimes I'll let myself relax and not stress about it, because I'm like, I've been in the business now for 22 years full time, making a nice living. So I think I'm okay. But it wasn't until recently that I let some of that pressure go and just relaxed.
No, I can relate to that, because I always feel like when you have passion, right, you have drive, and you always want to do better and you want to succeed more. And I even get Brandy sometimes saying, why do you work like till 10 o'clock at night? Because I know, I feel like I have to. I feel like there's a need. So I completely understand that. So when you started to push the band Push Stars, right?
Yep.
Going, when did you really started doing some of these songwriting for the movies?
Well, that stuff kind of happened. So we made a record in 1996, and between that and in 1998, like we went from an indie label to a major label. And right around there, I sang the national anthem at New England Patriots game.
Wow.
And I met Bobby Farrelly, one of the Farrelly brothers, at that game. Who'd been a roommate of our manager at that time. There's an ex-roommate from college. So he knew him and we had a relationship with him. So the Farrelly brothers used my song Everything Shines in There's Something About Mary. So that was the first time that it had a song in a film. And so that actually went through our record label, Capitol Records, put the soundtrack out for Something About Mary. So the film department liked the fact that we were an easy fit, because the Farrelly brothers liked us and we were on the same label. And so then that became, because that was really our first film, then because that film did so well, then the opportunity showed up a little easier through time with other films, just because that film you'd done so well. So the Farrelly brothers used maybe 3 more of my songs in different movies. One was Me, Myself, and Irene. One was Say It Isn't So. And then in Shallow Hell, Jack Black wears a Push Stars t-shirt in one of the scenes.
Oh, interesting. I watched that movie too. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's cool.
So what does that feel like? Right, you've been doing this your whole life. Wow. Now you've got Capitol Records. You're in a movie. Like, do you go around calling all your buddies up? Check this out. I mean, what does that feel like? It's got to be incredibly rewarding. It has to be.
It's rewarding, but one thing you learn, I think, when you're in a job where you're such a roller coaster ride, where one week you're like really flying high, the next week you're headed low. You attach to certain thing, there's certain kind of compression where you don't get too excited, but you don't get too low either, and you just ride it out. So there was a point at the Something About Mary premiere that we went to where we brought our dates and we brought our families and we brought a bunch of people. So we said, look, we want you guys to act like this happens all the time. Like, this is normal. Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited, because the band, like as a rock band, you feel some sense of you have to act cool, not cold, but just cool. As we coached our people, said, don't get too excited. So the second our song came on, they're like, it's you guys. I can't believe it. Oh my God, Chris. it's you singing. I can't like just completely freaking out.
It's like getting that home run for the first time. You're supposed to act
Exactly.
like you've been there, right?
Exactly. Right. So that was really funny. But there's been so many moments for me that have been just magical moments where you will be in a shopping mall and I hear a song I wrote in my bedroom. And that's a cool thing to feel like, oh, let's go into a shopping mall or whatever, just those experiences. And just like, I have a song in a new Casey Affleck movie that's out now. And that was something I wrote for the movie. They sent it to me like basically without score. So there's no music whatsoever. And that was really weird to watch a movie with no music whatsoever. It's called Every Breath You Take's the movie. But I wrote this song for this one bar scene. Then to see it, I got to bring my kids to the theater to watch it. And that was just a really cool moment. But at this point, I've had so many of those that just kind of pinch myself moments that if nothing ever happened again for me, I could say I had a really, really great life. And I would come at it.
I can tell you, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the things you're doing now, but your life is really good. If I could sit in your seat, I would be extremely happy. Here's my aha moment. I did a national commercial on Good Morning America. I'm with Michael Strahan. I'm with Robin Roberts. And so now, you film for 8 hours, you get like maybe, I don't know, I probably was on there for 5 seconds. One of those deals.
Yeah.
I'm at the gym, I'm working out, and it's a summertime commercial. They're showing it all over the televisions at Planet Fitness. I'm like, look,
Nice.
I'm famous, and not one person in that place had any idea but me.
I've been there.
Outside of Shark Tank, okay, people have now seen me on Shark Tank, but
Yeah, Shark Tank, I think,
In your own
that's
mind.
pretty huge.
yeah, definitely.
Way for the movie.
Well, for Something About Mary, they actually wanted to use our original demo before we signed with Capitol Records. And so for Capitol Records, we flew to Los Angeles and had a big budget. And so the Farrelly brothers wanted to use the original demo, which is really, really simple. It sounded like a Buddy Holly tune practically, because it's real simple. And then the Capitol version, we ended up using that for the movie. But each situation, each film has been very, very different. Like, in some cases, they ask you to write a song for the movie, and that's actually really good, but it's challenging because you don't know if you'll get the song in or if you'll write the right idea that fits the scene. Then if The Devil Wears Prada, I have a song in that movie, and you basically called and said, we're using your song, and it's done, it's in the scene, and that's it. And it's like no work, no anything. And that became one of the best paying songs of my whole life, because that film did so well in other countries. So it's a big global movie. So that was just something. I was sitting home and they're like, we're using it. Okay. You have no option, and have a good day.
Yeah.
So,
And you're like,
Where do we send this
okay.
yeah, right. Exactly.
So let's talk about one of the bigger movies and bigger songs you had, right, which I really personally love this time in August Rush. How did that take place? Because that is really cool. And to listen to you play that live, like right on the set when you play in Shark Tank, it was pretty cool. Because that's been one of my favorite songs for a long time, and to hear it. I mean, I think you played it in the concerts and in arenas, but to be that close and hear it acoustically in a really cool setting, it's pretty cool moment for me.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. Well, I think like all the films I've been offered, you only get 1 out of maybe 10, because it's competitive, because people want to do that because that's residual income forever. So long after I die, if the films like still play, that still brings money in. So for August Rush, so the music supervisor from Capitol Records moved on, started her own company, and she always liked me and liked my songwriting. And so she was working on August Rush, And she contacted me one day and she said, Chris, we've sent this one, like this one scene to all these heavy hitter songwriters, like big songwriters. And so none of them are nailing it. Could you take a crack and try and write it? And so I said, sure. And so I read the script, went in my backyard. It was a summer day. I wrote the song literally in 10 minutes. And I went and demoed it and sent it in. And immediately I got calls from the head of Warner Brothers, calls from the writer, the director, the producer, like, you nailed it, you nailed it. So that was super cool. But so then the debate is whether I would sing it or the actor would sing it. And they ended up finding out that the actor was a really good singer, Jonathan Rhys Meyers. And so he sings it in the movie, and he does a great job of it. So that's how that happened. And that was one of the first times, speaking of business, one of the first times I ever made a good business move, because they'd offered me less money, but I could own the song, or more money, and you basically buy the song. And so I said, I want to own the song. It took less money, not knowing how the movie would do, because you never know if a movie you'll be seen by anybody or nobody. But the soundtrack is done very well. It's a gold record. And so that was one of the few kind of good business decisions that I made since signing, contracts on the backs of cars after gigs with our first manager and stuff. Like, I made those mistakes. So it felt good to not make a mistake.
Right. Well, I really love it. So I'm thinking now, so you got all this going on. Now we're in a pandemic. Like, talk to me about that a little bit. And then I want to get into, I know you're good friends with Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. I mean, if for me, when I listen to Rob Thomas or listen to his music, I feel like he's writing some of the songs for me. Like, if I could write a song or sing it, that's kind of who I would be. And ironically enough, I'll tell you a funny story, Chris. Me and Brandy were going to Mohegan Sun to see Rob Thomas play. This is back, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I had just met Steven Tyler. Brandy wasn't with me. So we're in the car talking a little bit, like, who would you rather meet? Would you rather meet Steve Thomas, Steve Tyler?
Steve Tyler, yeah.
We're talking, and I said, I don't know. I said, I love Aerosmith. I've always loved Aerosmith. They're right local, and love Steven Tyler. But there's something about Rob Thomas. For me personally, I can relate. Like, his songs resonate with me. And we kind of said, okay, that's cool. We get to the concert. I have VIP passes. There's about 20 of us. I'm in this little holding area before you go to the concert. And I meet one of his publicists, and we're talking. And I had been on Shark Tank, Good Morning America, not a different version of Shark Tank, but again with Barbara Corcoran. It was Good Morning America. And I'm talking to him, and we kind of hit it off. We're getting along pretty well. And I'm like, hey, how do I meet Rob Thomas? He's like, he started laughing. He goes, how many people want to meet him? I say, I don't care about those other people. How do I meet him? I'm telling Brandy started dropping the Shark Tank stuff. She's like, no, don't bring that up. Anyways, he's taking video of us. We're talking to Rob Thomas. So we leave, we go sit down. Literally halfway through the concert, we're coming back from grabbing a beer. There's a first section, and then there's a front row of that section. And Rob Thomas is walking down the stage, and he's like, literally his security's around him. He's walking towards them, like, hey, Brandy, I'm trying to put my beer down. I'm getting my phone out, take pictures. He literally walks up, gives me a high five. He's singing.
Yeah.
Gives me a hug, grabs Brandy, and sings the entire song, holding Brandy. And Brandy's like Jello at this point. I'm like, I may never see her again. I'm filming the whole thing, got pictures, sings the whole song, stands on top of the chair, walks out. And it was like the most unbelievable moment that you can imagine, because like being a fan of his and just talking about it, going to Mohegan Sun, and that really happened. Brandy's like, how did he know we were sitting? I'm like, I've been hanging out with his publicist for the last hour and a half. Maybe he thought you had that bright orange shirt on. He picked you out right before the concert started.
Yeah.
Pictures, they came out great. It was pretty cool. So I mean, like, to have those moments, it's unbelievable. And I know now you're friends with Rob, and you're writing music with him. So talk about that a little bit. That's got to be like pretty cool as well. I can only imagine how cool to write a song with a guy like Rob, being your stature, having all the movie background. it's got to be unbelievably cool.
Yeah.
Special.
So I first met Rob. In about 2004, my band was about to break up. We were pretty close to breaking up because we had just kind of pushed the band name as far as we could, and we were all growing older. And so suddenly we all had houses and families and cars. So the band's salary, wasn't cutting it. And so a fan of ours said, Chris, if I give you, a check to make another record, would you do it? With the Push Stars. So we went and recorded, our last Hail Mary record in 2003, I think it was. And so the producer of our record had just worked with Matchbox 20 on their last record. So his name was Greg Collins. He's still living. And he passed our record to Rob. He told Rob, he said, Rob, I think you'll dig this stuff. And we didn't know Rob Thomas. We didn't know Matchbox at all. We just knew them from the radio hits and that kind of stuff. And so literally about a week after Rob heard our record, he invited us on tour with Matchbox 20. So we went from being about to break up to like, oh shit, we need a bus driver. We didn't even have a manager at that time.
Where was I when you needed a manager?
I know. So we were basically done, and then suddenly we're opening arenas. At that time, Matchbox 20 was every night was insane. So that was a huge thrill. But that's when I first met Rob, and that's when we first became friends. And I just remember, just talking about what you were talking about, how he's a very special person. He never forgets where he came from. And I think he had a relatively rough background. So when I just noticed back then when he was like, all the energy coming back at him, people tugging on him constantly for favors and things, he would never lose sight of his crew, of his stage techs, all the people who really could do nothing for him. He would treat them as kindly as anybody else. And he treats his fans, knowing him now, he treats his fans so well, and really doesn't see that boundary, like he's above anybody. Like he never sees that. He sees everybody as equal. And so I think he's been a beautiful example. I'm super lucky that he's been a great mentor for me. Just not even on stage, not even songwriting stuff, but just who he is off stage. He's been a great example for me. Not that I'm confronted with the same things he is, but just to see how he treats people, I think it's a beautiful example for most performers. Because it's funny when I'm thinking back to when we, the Push Stars had toured with Third Eye Blind, if you know those guys.
Of course, yeah.
In the singer who I think is, much less famous than Rob, was just really rude to his fans and rude to people and not nice. And then seeing Rob, who was technically a bigger performer, was nicer than the Third Eye Blind guy. So although I shouldn't trash people publicly, but
No, but I can relate.
You know what I'm saying?
When I think of like Rob, I always thought of him like his songs match him, right? And you're right. You look at his background and how he got started. It was not the easiest trail, but man, to see how he is towards his fans, and grabbing the phones during the concerts and talking to people, and it's just that night. Like Brandy will never forget that ever, and I won't forget it. It was a pretty cool thing that he did. And I'm Jim Tracci, who you're good friends with, who's our photographer and Rob's photographer. He told me Rob's the kind of guy, if I call him right now at the Shark Tank airing and he's in the area, he'll come and hang out with us. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know better than anybody, but and you're that kind of guy, not for nothing. You are. I mean, so I love the fact that when you guys have gotten famous and did some really cool things, You always stayed humble. And I think that's what people love. Fans love that.
Yeah, I mean,
Speaking on my behalf, I absolutely appreciate that.
yeah, I've been writing songs with Rob for the past maybe 7 months, not constantly, but we finished maybe 4 songs. And but I used to dread the co-writing process. Well, only because I saw songwriting as so personal. Because for me, it was always, I'm still that kid who gets into his own headspace. And, you know, I'm 13 years old again. I just got picked on by a bully in school. So this is my process. And so co-writing for me, like the Nashville style, where you go and punch in and like, let's write a song about drinking and fighting. Like I can't do that. But for some reason, like just writing with Rob is really easy because he's just, I don't know what it is specifically about him. He's not judgmental, but he's also really honest. And so it's like, yeah, I don't like this part. I think I'll skip that. But this next part's brilliant. And so he always leads with gratitude and positivity, which makes it very easy to write with him.
Yeah, I bet. And you guys, you can see when you guys sing together, you've got chemistry. I mean, it's clear as day. So I'm sure when you write, it's the same way. So what do you do with those bullies that gave you shit back in the day, now that you're the man? What do you do with those people? I know Rob's got his own story about it. What do you do with those people?
Sing a song about them.
How do you like me now?
Right. I've had a bunch of great moments like that where I mean, now being the age I am, I recognize that you know, we were all in different boats at different times, but I can remember going, you know, I'm from Buffalo, New York originally. That's where I went to school. And so when I play there, like there's always somebody from my high school shows up and they'll wait around to do a picture with me. And in many instances, I'll recognize that person. Like, wait, that's one of the guys who picked me in the last 40% in gym class. So fuck this guy. But I'm always nice, you know, I'm always courteous, and I recognize that we're all older now. We all took the shots, and I've been an asshole too many times. So I think that, you know, it's all good. But I got nominated I got inducted into the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Recently. So that was a moment for me where I could let it all go. You know, I can let all the bullying go because it's okay. Now in the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame. So.
Hey, so what's next for Chris Trapper? You're writing songs with Rob Thomas. One of those, when will those come out? You've got an album out, right? Cold Water Waltz, that's your new album. And we'll let you all that and talk about that. But what's next for you? Like, when are those songs going to come out? What I see you got some concerts set up. So talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, I've been doing mostly kind of backyard shows over the past, you know, 18 months. I've done lots of outdoor stuff. I'm totally willing to play indoors. I mean, I'm comfortable with it, but you have to meet people where their level of comfort is, I guess. So I've been doing that. I have my first kind of real long tour is booked, which starts in February, and that's like a 3-month tour where I'm touring with another artist from Canada who we've written some songs with. His name's Alan Doyle, and he sang for a band called Great Big Sea, which is a really big band in Canada and do well in the States too. And Alan's a great guy. He's also an actor. He was in a couple of Russell Crowe movies, and so I'm touring with him for 3 months, and that's my next real kind of, you know, long tour. Until then, I'm doing mostly weekends where I'm doing Friday and Saturdays, and now I'm doing some indoor shows like in New York City and Buffalo, New York, and Syracuse, New York, and so I'm just, in the music business, usually it books around 18 months out. So over the past year, it's been weird because nobody has that much confidence to say, like, we're opening and it's going to be great. We're going to have a full schedule and so it's been touch and go, but I'm basically taking anything that I've been offered because I think people need music more than ever right now. And so I think it's important to bring joy to people and bring beauty. You know, music can be beautiful. And so I think that I think it's important to be out there playing and singing and, you know,
There's one date I want you to keep open for next year. I think Matchbox is playing on July 6th and July 8th in Florida. And
Oh,
I think
nice.
on the 8th in West Palm. Our wedding, right, me and Brandy kept true to our word. I did a live proposal on Good Morning America for my late mother's birthday on July 7th. Then Robin Roberts did a follow-up last August. So we
Yeah.
stayed true to it. We had a small, intimate wedding. You know, originally we were gonna do Hawaii, just too many restrictions right now. So we
Yeah.
had a small wedding. We got married on July 7th on my mother's birthday. But next July 7th,
Congratulations, man.
put that on your calendar. This is your invite right now. July
Okay,
7th,
I'm into it.
West Palm Beach in Florida. You are-
Congratulations, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're gonna have the party next year.
Cool, I'm into it.
That's
All right,
great.
I'm-
That's great.
I'm down. Cool.
Where can we find some of your stuff? Where can we find your, I know you got a strapper.com website. Talk about where we can buy your music, where we can find you, and all your tour dates.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, I'm on all the social media platforms, even TikTok, unbelievably. So I don't get TikTok yet, but I'm on TikTok.
I want to see that. I want to see your
Yeah.
TikTok.
I only do 2 things on it so far because honestly, I can't, I don't have time to keep up with the Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok. And then I'm still figuring out MySpace. So,
Yeah.
You sound like
So-
Brandy.
so yeah, all the usual stuff and my music's on YouTube and iTunes and all that stuff. And so I just, I've been working on some Christmas songs with Rob because Rob's doing a Christmas record, but I'm not sure if he's using any of them yet. I have no idea. And I try not to bother him with that stuff. So, and then I'm just going to keep writing and keep touring. And yeah, it's the new thing that I have out is the movie with Casey Affleck, which is on Hulu right now. So if you watch it on Hulu, I make 5 cents. So get watching,
I'm
people.
logging on right after this. Matter of fact, I'm logging in right now.
Yeah, it's called Every Breath You Take.
You are a stand-up guy. Anyone that's been around you loves you. You're a good dude. You're kind-hearted. You're incredibly talented. And man, I'll tell you how much, I know you're busy, how much we appreciate you coming on the show today.
Oh, I'm so glad.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
come out and see you. So just, I'll let you know when I'm in the area of your playing or you're in my area, I'm gonna definitely come out and visit you, definitely. We really, really enjoyed it. And I'll tell you, you've got an incredible background. And to hear some of your stories today, man, I just, the whole thing with your parents, I was extremely close with my parents, especially my mother. So I can really appreciate you taking care of your parents, man.
Yeah.
Really, really cool thing to do.
I just hope I can borrow your blue suit sometime. That's what I'm looking for.
And,
wanna
one of our buddies, Chris Landano, after the Shark Tank airing, sent me a picture of him in a blue suit. I'm like, dude, you can't wear that. I've got the trademark on that. You cannot wear it.
Yeah, I think you are the icon now for that suit. That's all you.
With the
Sorry.
crown, king crown.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
Forward to the Zoot suit.
Yeah.
Chris, really, really appreciate you, man. We'll be in touch and
Yeah, say hi to Judy for me too.
yeah, I sure will. And make sure July 7th, 2022, that's got to be on your calendar.
Awesome.
Cool. I'm gonna write it down now.
All that. So you just show up. The rest I
Cool,
got.
man. Okay, cool, man.
All right.
Good seeing you.
Good seeing
Yeah,
you.
I'll see you tonight. Shark Tank.
Absolutely. 8 p.m. ABC.
Cool, man. Okay, cool.
There,
Bye.